Hello everyone. So in the previous sessions, we have started our discussion on pandas, and we saw what a data frame is, what is a series, and then we saw what indexes are, what these columns are. And now we'll move on to the more advanced concepts of pandas. I won't call them advanced, but per se documentation calls them advanced. So we'll see what these things are. So the first thing that we'll start is this is called as hierarchical indexing. Okay, we can put in heading of hierarchical indexing. What this hierarchical indexing is. So we'll start with a real world example, and after that we'll code that example also. We'll see what that means. So hierarchical index, sometimes you have to make multiple indices. Let's suppose we have people, we have students here. I'll take a real world example. We have students here. So student is, let's suppose, Mahmood. Okay, so Mahmood, let's suppose he takes certain subjects. So Mahmood, everybody takes certain subjects. So we have subjects as this was mathematics, and we have machine learning, we have deep learning, and we have some other things. And then within each of this, so each of these subjects has exams. And if you were from my system, so in our school systems, we had unit 1 exam, unit 2 exam, and then term first exam, unit 3 exam, and term second exam, something like this. So if you see this, so this thing is an index. Okay, if you see it from a real world perspective, the name is also an index. Then these subjects are also indices, and these are column names again. These things are column names. So now if you have to make a table, so if you have to make a table in Excel, so how do you make this? You basically merge these cells there. So let's suppose if you have multiple students, I'll just take an example of 2 students. So like this. So what will happen is I'll give Mahmood. Okay, then we have multiple cells, but we'll merge them. Let's suppose second student is Tazmeen. So these are the 2 students we have. And each student has multiple subjects. Okay, now we have subject, let's suppose mathematics. And then we have machine learning, we have deep learning. Let's suppose we have programming. And same thing for Tasmeen. We have mathematics, we have machine learning, we have deep learning, and we have programming. Okay. Now each of this thing will have, each of the subject will have tests. We'll call them unit 1, unit 2, term first exam, unit 3, and term second exam. Something like this. If we have to create a data frame like this, now you see that we have hierarchies involved. So this is the first index. Within that we have and the hierarchy. That's why hierarchy basically means you initially have something, above that you have something, above that you have maybe something. So you see we have 2 indices. At least I can see 2 indices here. I can see name index, I can see subject also. Okay, and within a name we have a subject. And this is why we have this hierarchy of these indices. So pandas does support this also. I think we have a question. Yes. So this is a real world example. So I told you that here we can see there are clearly 2 indices. So we have this index and we have this index. Okay, and now you can see the hierarchy there. First we'll go to Mahmood, and Mahmood has certain subjects. So Mahmood has mathematics, machine learning, deep learning, and programming. Same for Tazmeen. Tazmeen has mathematics, machine learning, deep learning, and programming. So okay, we have 2 levels of indices, 2 levels of index. So first level is this, and then level 2 is this. Okay, and then we have this. Now if you see what we have seen in 2 previous sessions, we saw that we have an index, we define that. Now we have to define this multi-level indexing. Why is the need of this? Why should we define it separately? Now we have to maybe, let's suppose, select something. We have to perform operations. So those operations should also be compatible with this multi-level indexing. Okay, that's why pandas gives us this multi-level indexes. So it gives us multi-level so that whatever things we have studied, we have learnt about how to index, how to slice, what things to do. So they do apply here also. Okay. Let's go on and let's see first some demo examples, and then we'll see, we'll replicate this example. I hope my code window is visible. Okay, so what I can do is the first thing is I should import these things. I'll just put this tab a little bit further away. So I'll just import 2 things. So import pandas as PD. PD is the alias. Import numpy as np. And then I'll select this environment deep learning, so you can see that. And after that, let's suppose now I have to create multiple indices. The first way is what I can do is I can create array of arrays. I'll show you basic things. Let's suppose I'll create an array. Okay, I'll name it as array. Array will be an array of arrays. So array of arrays we have studied in NumPys how to think about it. And now what we'll do is, so for example, let's suppose we have for each subject, let's consider this. We have names. I'll initially say whatever they have written in the documentation. So if you see, I'll create a list and then I'll explain it. So we have a list like this, and we have second list, which I'll just copy from the documentation and I'll paste it over here. Then we'll have a discussion on it. So now you see this bar, you see this bar over here. Okay. So this bar basically tells this bar is just one name, and then we have corresponding to it 1 and 2. Okay. If I make a diagram out of it, if I make a diagram for this, okay, diagram will be like which I made for the Mahmood. So we'll have this bar. Okay, and each bar, if you see, has this 1 and 2 associated with it. Okay, now we have repeated this bar 2 times. If you see, this bar is repeated 2 times. That means this bar is associated with this 1 and with this 2. Then the next thing is we have something baz. Baz, it's again, we have this 1, 2. So we wrote 1 and 2, something like this. Okay, same for the other things also. So again, coming back to the code, you see that this bar has 1 and 2. Okay, then this baz, this is repeated 2 times. This again has this 1 and 2. This foo again has 1, 2, and this cuz again has 1 and 2. So now if I just make it like this, if I turn it into a tuple, let's suppose I'll say I'll write tuples, and then what I'll do is I'll write it's a list. I'll convert a list. Okay, now it is a this thing is a list of lists. So what I can do is I can zip them together. So you know the function zip which we have used in our range function when we were doing for loop. So what I can do is I can say zip these two lists together. So one list is this, and one list is this. Now how to get access of list of lists? So you know we'll use that star thing, star of arrays. Okay, star of arrays. So this thing basically will give me the access to this list and to this list. Now I am zipping them together. By the zip function, what it does is it will take this element and this element. It will take this element, this element. If I now print these tuples, you will see I'll get bar 1, bar 2, baz 1, baz 2. I'll get as list of tuples. Okay, so let's suppose I'll get print these tuples. Now you can see this. And this is actually a list, but list contains tuple. So each tuple has value. Each tuple is a key pair value. You can consider them ordered pair. So this is bar and this is 1. Again, we have bar, we have 2, we have baz, we have 1, we have baz, we have 2. Okay, this is these tuples. And from this now I have to create an index. Okay, usually you know we can create pd.index. That is for the simple index. When we were doing it yesterday, in the previous session, I should not say yesterday, in the previous session we were creating those indices and we're creating this index. Now what we have to do is we'll create this multi-index. Okay, what is multi-index is the thing that I showed you. With this bar, it will be associated with this 1 and 2. Baz will be associated with 1 and 2. Foo will be associated with 1 and 2. Okay, so let's create that. And then we can give it names. Now you see it is multi-level indexing. Why multi-level? Because this is the first level. This bar, this is first level, and this is the second level of indexing. So now what I'll do is I'll create an index. Okay, and then I'll say PD. I should maybe get it over the top. PD dot multi-index is a function which Pandas gives us. And what I can say is I have to write from tuples, because this, if you see, we have created tuples. Tuple, whatever you pronounce it as. So this is our tuples. So I'll write this function from tuples, and I'll give this as an input, whatever the tuples we created. Okay, tuples is equal to tuples. Okay, so I think we have this. And then what I'll do is I'll name these also, because they're multi-level indexing now. I can name them. So I can say that maybe first level or second level. So I can say comma columns, or column names. Maybe names is the parameter that I should use. Names is equal. So what I should name the first level, and then I'll say second level, comma second level. Okay, so this is what I have done. So I have created an index now. Oops, so I should delete this cell. So now this, if I print this index now, okay, so I'll print the index. You can see this is the multi-level, and it has type multi-level, and the names are first level and the second level. So what I have done is I have just created the index now, but this index is multi-level index. So from this, let's suppose I'll create a series. I can create data frame from this. I can create a series, and I can use this multi-level indexing. Let's suppose I'll create a series. So series S is equal to PD dot series. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll maybe generate some random numbers. We have np dot random dot rand function, and then I'll generate some 8 random numbers, because we have 8 of these. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'll generate 8 random numbers, and now I'll use index as the index that we have this. So index is equal to index, and now this is my series. If I print this S, this is the series. This is the first level of indexing. So if I just erase this, so here if you see, this is the first level indexing bar, and then we have 1, 2 corresponded, and then we have these values correspond to these things, and then we have baz, we have 1, 2 and corresponding values. You can even name this also. Okay, I think the name should be columns. So we can just maybe add one more thing, that is columns over here, if it is there, or names. If we'll have to see how do we say names. Okay, so name is, and let's suppose we'll call it A, and I'll see if it works. It is hashable. Again, the problem is there. So yeah, you'll have to read document. I just want to add the column names. You can just search document how to add column name within the series, and we have seen that. And this is again a proof that I don't remember these things. Okay, and this is not you should not even remember these things. Otherwise, how many things will you remember? So I will just go with this. So now if I show you this, so here, oops. So if you now see this as a table in Excel, maybe however you have been trained to see. So this is that table. So this is the first level of indexing. This is the second level of indexing. Okay, and within this we have somehow merged these two cells. Okay, and then we have merged these cells again, and we have merged these cells again. Okay, this is for the series, and we can do same for the data frames also. We can create data frame, and where these will be as used as an index. I just showed you one for the series, and we can do same for these data frames. Okay. So now coming to the real example that I showed you, coming to that example. The example was we'll create students, and let's suppose we'll create some students, and based on these students, we'll assign them subjects, and for the subjects we'll have this unit test that I told you, and there are multiple ways to create them. Okay, there are multiple ways. Let's see one of the ways, and basically we'll create data frame over there. Okay, coming to that. Because I have written some codes, I just want to copy paste them. If it is not here, then I'll have to write everything manually. But I showed you how to create multiple index, and you can create it in different ways. Okay, now the first thing is I showed you can create a list of lists. What I can do is I can create this index of lists. So as I showed you, let's suppose we have to create index now. So the first index is name, second index is subjects. Okay, now the first how I can create, I can say let's suppose I'll name it iterables. Iterables is basically through which this is the second way of creating indices. Now if you see here, there was a lot of repetitions. So in this index, there's a lot of repetition. There was this bar, baz, foo, and you saw that there is a lot of repetition. So we should be able to handle it somehow programmatically. So what I can do is I can just write name of students. So I'll again make a list of lists. Okay, in the first I'll give name of students. Okay, I'll give name of students, and the second is I'll give subjects of these, and then I have a function which is called as from product. That will basically perform a product. So I'll tell you what product. Let's suppose we'll write names. We have Mahmood, and then I'll write the name Tazmeen, and then I'll have, let's suppose, Fahad. Then we have Sajid. I need to see the student list that we have here. Sayyid Intikhab. Okay, if I can write it correctly. Intikhab. Whatever, I wrote the spelling wrong. Forgive me for this. And then probably some other student I'll write, Anwar or something. Okay, so these are the students. So this is my student list. If you see, this is my student list. This would I have selected. Then I want a subject list. So one thing is, what I should do is, if I let's suppose create a list of lists, so correspond, I should repeat this Mahmood the number of subject times. If it has mathematics, physics, deep learning, machine learning, whatever it has, I should repeat Mahmood for these number of times. And the second thing is, what I should do is the other way that Pandas gives us. I can just create a list of subjects, one more list. So it will be mathematics. And then let's suppose we have machine learning, and let's say we have deep learning, and let's say then we have some programming. Okay, so these are our subjects. So this is our I just named it iterable. So now if in order to create index, how I'll do it, I'll say index is equal to. So again, because this, if you see, is again a list of lists. So I'll say pd.multi-index. pd.multi. This is a function. Initially, if you saw, we saw pd.index, then we saw from tuples. So we wrote it from tuples here. Now we know that we don't have tuples exactly like this. So there is one more function that's called as from product. So I'll write dot from product. So it should appear here, the from product. What it will do is, it will basically take this Mahmood, and it is as if you are multiplying it with everything. Okay. It's a generic concept. From product is a generic concept. Let me explain this, then we'll move forward. So let's suppose you might have seen this Cartesian product. Cartesian product is if you have, let's suppose, a relation a comma b comma c comma d, something like you have a set and you have another set 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. This is another set. Okay, these are the two sets that you have. So now, how do you define Cartesian product? You take each of this element and make ordered pairs. You'll say a comma 1, a comma 2, a comma 3, a comma 4. And then you will say b comma 1, b comma 2. That's what Cartesian product is. So here, that's how we have written it. We have written from products. If you see this over here, So what I have done is I have written this from product. It will basically do this. It will say Mahmood mathematics, Mahmood machine learning, Mahmood deep learning, Mahmood programming, and same for Tasmeen, mathematics, machine learning, deep learning programming, and say this is like Cartesian product. That's why it is called product. Okay, and consider these things as sets. Consider this thing doing a Cartesian product. Okay, as we did in the sets probably in +1, +2. Okay, and that is also, that concept will be repeated once we read SQL. Now if you have this index from products, and what I'll give is, I'll give this iterables. I'll give this iterables as an, this is my iterable. I can just name it anything. So I just named it iterables because from product it takes the first argument iterables, if you see it. Then I'll take names. So names, the first layer is names, and then we have subject. So we have an argument names, and then we'll take this list of names. The first will be name of the student, and then second is subjects. Okay, so subject. Oops. So now I want to see it if it worked correctly. So if I just print this index, okay, you can see it. You can see now it created tuple, list of tuples. Again, the same thing. The output is basically, I wanted to create a list of tuples like this. And we have this from product. Initially, we did it by hand. We did everything by hand, and we got like this. And now I had a list of lists, which basically is iterable, and I took this, and you can clearly see I got something like a Cartesian product, something like when we create this relation. Okay, usually we say relation is a subset of Cartesian product. So we got the whole Cartesian product: Mahmood mathematics, Mahmood machine learning, Mahmood deep learning, and Mahmood programming. And again, same for the Tasmeen. Now what we'll do is we'll have to create data frame. Okay, and in this data frame, what I'll do is I'll create it like this. This is my index. Let me just now clean this output. So we have this. Now we'll create data frame. So how to create data frame? You know that there is a function pd.data frame. So let's call this data is equal to pd.data frame. Now initially it should take data. So I'll generate some random data. Okay, I'll generate a random data. Let's suppose np.random integer. Let's suppose I'll create integer data, and in this I'll say let's suppose range of the marks is between 10 to 20, and I'll randomly assign. And the size, how many people are, how many values should I given? Because if you see mathematics, machine learning, deep learning, these are four subjects, and we have how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 people. That means 6, 4, 24. So we should have 24 rows. Okay, 24 rows, comma, and then how many columns? We have unit 1, unit 2. And then we have term 1, unit 3, and term 2. Then we have 5 columns. So I should give it like this, 5 values. So rand this basically tells create 10 rows, and create basically these are these random integer between 10 to 20, not rows, 10 to 20. Create the values between 10 to 20, and this should be 24 rows and 5 columns. And then I should name these columns. The first thing is I should index, comma, index is equal to index, which I have created earlier. Let's suppose I'll create this. So if I just print this data, now you can see this. We have a table like this. Mahmood, we have mathematics, machine learning, deep learning, programming. We have 0, 1, 2, 3. Now let's suppose I'll have to add column names. So let me see the function. What is there for function? I think function is columns. Yes, columns is the function. So I'll say unit 1, comma, unit 2. Oops. And then we have term first exam, and then we have unit 3 exam, and then let's suppose we have term second exam, term second. So now if I create this data, now you can see this. This is the data for the people. Consider this as the data that is stored in your school. So we have Mahmood. For Mahmood, we have mathematics, machine learning, deep learning, programming. We have unit 1, 11, and this is randomly assigned marks between 10 to 20. Okay, so this is that thing that we have done so far. Is it clear for everyone? I'll pause here for a second to take your questions. Okay. Now the thing is we have created this multi-index data frame, and now rightly as asked questions, how to use the concepts of this indexing that we earlier saw. We saw how to slice things, how to get hold of one thing, and how to get hold of other thing. So how to do that? So for that I'll show you how to do that. Now if you see this multiple index, let's suppose I want initially unit 1 marks only. Okay. First thing, let me show you how to get these levels of data. There are so many things to learn. So many things are popping in the head at the same time. So now you know we have this index. So what we can do is I can say, let's suppose this is a huge thing. So I want to see in the first index we have names. I'll see how many names are there. Okay, what are the names? I just want to see the names. So I'll say index, okay, dot. There is a function called as get level values. Get level values, and it takes an argument which level, because there will be multiple levels. You can have level 0, level 1, level 2. Let's consider we have level 0, because as you know, this is the level 0. So first is this is level 0 and this is level 1, as we have two levels of indices. I just want to see in the level 0 what is there. So you can see it, level 0 index has these things, and it is named as name. Okay, and these are the things that we have there. We have Mahmoud, and then we can maybe call a function unique on this if it is there. I'm just experimenting. Yes, I got unique names. And I was not sure this will work again, and then I'd have to check the documentation. But I know I can print unique names by unique function. And there are so many ways to do this. I said, okay, give me the unique names. Okay, this is one way of doing this. So if you see this, this is index. Can I apply set on this? Because set also contains unique names. So I can, if I just call set. I'm just showing you my thinking process. Again, you saw this. I got the set of unique things. Okay, one function is unique, which will take unique names. As I know that set doesn't allow duplicate elements. I'll just call this function typecasting into sets. I'll typecast it into set. Okay, but my goal as a programmer was I wanted to get the unique elements. So I got those unique. These are the unique elements. Okay, and now if I want to see, so I know there is a function length. So I want to see how many unique people are there. I'll just call this function length. So now if you see, it has length 6. Okay, and let's suppose there are these things size also. So I'll again use the same function unique. So unique has this, and probably, and this is the type of index, and you can see the shape. Okay, and shape is of 6,1. You can see how I'm doing the same thing by using different things. Okay, that's how the concept is. I wanted to get how many number of unique names are there. I told you that I can convert this into a set probably. Then I can see length of the set. Otherwise, what I can do is I can call a function unique on it. Unique function will give me just the unique names. Then I can call shape on it, and maybe shape of 0 again. I'll write shape of 0 if you have to use it somewhere. So I'll get this value 6. Okay, are you getting the thinking process? I'm not here to teach you to mug up the syntax. So, but I'm showing you my thinking, how I think. So my job was to get the unique names, and then to see how many unique names are there. I told you, I at least showed you 2 examples. If you give me maybe 5 minutes, I'll come up with some other example and show you this is and the way of doing it. And then we'll come to efficiency. What thing is more efficient? What is not efficient? And we can think about that also. But the first thing is you should be clear with the approach. I don't have to remember syntax. There are different ways to achieve this, but I should know the things. I should know what should I get out of this. Okay, now the function that I was focusing on this get values. So we have different levels. Okay, we have level index.get level 0, get level 1. So in the levels, if you saw, this is what we have. So now let's suppose if you want to print level 1 now. So level 1 is this. So level 1 is mathematics. Again, I'm more convinced I should print unique names. So this is the unique things that I'm printing, mathematics, machine learning. So getting access to the different levels. So even you saw this function. This function doesn't only take the number as argument, because sometimes there'll be different levels. But as you know, you have given name to this. You have given name subjects. You have given name to. You can just call this. You can say get values and then let's suppose subjects. And if you just print it, you can see again you got the subjects. And if you have to print a name, I think we give the name. Name is not there, so I think it's capitalized N. Yes, it is there. So you can see we got the names. So this is how you can access different indices. Okay, you can see what are the different index names there, or how many are there. You can check the length and stuff like that. Now let's suppose within this data frame, this is my data frame. I want to just collect the unit first marks for all the students. Okay, so what I can do is I can say data frame and normal indexing and just index it like this. U1. Give me the this is not data frame. This is data basically. So data of U1, if I want this, so I can print only 5 elements. I can say dot head. So now you can see this. You got for Mahmoud, you got 11 this, and again for Tazmin you start getting. But I just said give me the first 5 elements. I said say 10. So it will give 10 elements. If I just print all the things, so it will give all the things. Okay, this is all the unit 1 marks. Now we are seeing how to select these things. Now I can select multiple things. I can select unit 2nd marks also. Okay, and now you can see I got, oops, there is some problem. Maybe I should put it a list of lists. If you want to put 2 things, I assume that you can put it a list of lists. Yes. And you will get these errors. If a programmer is not getting errors, then you should doubt. He is not getting errors. That means there is something wrong. Either he's probably prepared with this, he's copying it from somewhere, and he has already tested the code. And that's why I don't debug usually in front of you. The problem with debugging is sometimes you'll write code in 5 minutes, and it takes maybe hours of efforts to debug. And I'll tell you my experience. Recently, what happened is we were debugging a code. We wrote a code and we thought it is perfectly working. And it was giving us some error, star, error, and power. And we debugged it at least for, I'll say, for half an hour. And then we saw that we missed one comma. I'll show you what example I was talking about. So because you know that in the definition when you write a function like this, and then you write a comma b comma, see, and I was writing arguments like this in the programming in the programming syntax. I was writing it like this. I said function a, then b, then I said let's suppose then we have these keyword arguments. I was writing it like this. So somehow I missed the comma here. Okay, and then in the error it was showing me this function, this it was considered these two stars at power. It was considering these as power because this is again a overload operator. Okay, because I have missed this comma. I was thinking I haven't used power anywhere. Why is it giving so? I had to debug. I have to use debuggers. So usually there are different ways to debug the code. I was using debugger. It at least took two people of us, and one of the guys is so he is way better fast coder than me. He codes very fast. So he even couldn't get this. We have missed the comma. And once we got there, we missed the comma. We saw that we somehow lost a half an hour. So that's the reason I'm not debugging code in front of you, because sometimes these silly mistakes cost you at least couple of hours. Okay, so even right now in here, it was giving me error because I did not pass it as list. So now you can see this. Coming back to this. So we have data. Then we selected unit 1 and unit 2, and these are the columns I selected. Okay. Now coming to the question, if you want, let's suppose select the marks for the Mahmood. So again, nothing special. So what I can do is I can just call Mahmood over here. Oops, Mahmood, I misspelled the name. Okay, this is the Mahmood. Okay, how I can get it? Let's suppose I don't know the first. I just want a first thing. Oops, so I just want to call here the first thing. So how I can say is, because I know I can call this enter. I can say index c dot, because I don't want to type the name, and there will be some because this name is maybe pretty big. Get level names, get level values rather, of 0th level, because 0th is the name, and I know I'll get this index, and I'll index it. I'll say 0th element. Okay, I'll say index of 0th element. So I'm taking Mahmood. So I'll store it within, not even store. Let's suppose I can directly call it, or if I want to store it, I can store it also. And then I need to convert into string. I can say str. And let's suppose I'll save it into name. Maybe I have overloaded the name. I'll just say NA. So now I'll pass NA over here. Oops. And I'm saying key error. Mahmood is not there. It should be there. Is there a key error? Let me not experiment with this. I'll just call Mahmood first so as to see if my thing is right. Okay, there is some error. Let me just check with this. I'll just select unit 1 marks. Oh yes, it is working. Now you see, because we have different of these, so I said get me the unit 1 marks of Mahmood for these subjects, mathematics, this and this. Okay, and these are the things for Mahmood. I want to check is it giving the correctly? Is it giving the correctly? Data of Mahmood. Okay, now you can see Mahmood got 11, 11, 19, and 15. Yes, this is true. So you saw how you can get this without data, and then got indexed of this, and then say give me the Mahmood. Let's suppose if I want now mathematics. Okay, I hope this should work. Okay, I'll just type mathematics over here. Okay, if I okay, yes, Mahmood, it got 11. It gave me the 11. So you saw. So I got unit 1, unit 2. If I now say unit 2, okay, 19. It is giving the right answer. So I was trying with this. I said, let's suppose if we have this, can I just type this NA over here? But this I have already converted into a string. Voila, yes, it worked. You can see it. So I said NA. So I basically got this because if let's suppose this name was quite long and I was not sure how can I write it. So I just said give me index, get level value of 0. So this will basically return me this whole index. So I said okay, get into that, give me the 0th name, that is give me the 0th, give me this Mahmood, and then because this will be something else, converted into a string. Okay, and I can check the type also. So was this operation unnecessary? I just wanted to see, was this operation unnecessary? Is it giving the string by default? Yes, it does give string by default. So converting into a string doesn't make sense. I can just remove this. Okay, and then directly say this. Okay, so you can still see I was unnecessarily converted to string because by default this was a string. I was assuming it might be some other data type, so it is better typecast. So, but it automatically gave me the string. So it is better to use this sometimes if you are not sure what's the thing like this. And again, you can say for this mathematics again, if this is subject, you can add sub, and then index dot get level values, but now you know it is first value, and mathematics is again 0th index in there. So I can just say sub and paste it over here. Now you can see this. I got sub and a, and now this is 19. Now even if you want to get this unit, because you know that how to get columns, so data dot columns. This is how we get columns. So let me print this. I want to ensure that it is actually that. Print data dot columns. Yes, it is that. Okay, so I can again say data dot columns of 0. Let's suppose this is my exam variable. And now what I can do is I can just uncomment this, and instead of this I can write exam. Okay, without even hard coding the values, because now I know I can get mistakes in this name Mahmood, I can get mistake in the column names, I can get mistakes or anything. But the better thing is what I did is I said, okay, give me it like this. So even I can write a loop for this. Okay, if you see like this, so if I now got this, gives me extra flexibility. Okay, so I can write this in the loop. Now I need to zip all the things together. Okay, for I in, let's suppose zip of ijk, I'll write ijk, I comma j comma k, and I'll zip all of these things together. I'll zip na comma sub and then exam. Rather, for initially we have exam, and then we have this na, and then we have this we have last is sub. But the problem, there will be a problem. I just found that the problem will be because we have different level, different types of elements. So I won't run it multiply. I'll break the loop. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just cut it. I want to print this, and maybe after this I'll break it. Okay, I hope that this should not give me an error. It gave me an error. Mathematics, machine and deep learning programming. Okay, I assume that, but I hope you got the point. The point is that I wrote them. Okay, this is not columns. I should not get this also. Okay, now let's do this. Now I can debug. It'll require debug the code. Now, if you see the problem at hand, what I wanted to do is I wanted to get NA. Okay, then I want to get SUB. I want to get exam. Okay, I'll get these three values: exam, NA, and SUB. So from these things, so I'm giving the values I. Oops, I found the error. So this is I, and then this is J, and this is K. Okay, now it should print, hopefully. Okay, now you got the value 11. Okay, I broke it in the first loop itself. And now if I say go all the way. Okay, now it went all the way. So what is this basically doing is, this is for this is Mahmood. Okay, this is I, Mahmood, and then J. I can print these values. I can print IJK, I comma J comma K. Who is following the thought process that I'm going through right now? So in unit 1, Mahmood in mathematics got 11 marks. In unit 2, Mahmood in machine learning got 15 marks. Okay, if I want to get, like I said, otherwise I will have to run this. I was just doing the zip thing. Now if I have to go one by one, I'll have to write 3 for loops. So for loop within the loop within the loop. Is am I becoming ununderstandable, if that is a word? Is it all right? Is everybody understanding these things? What I was doing. So I'll take seconds to take any questions if you have. Any questions? Yes, Arsha. Yes, you can use any sort of indexing now. I'm just showing you these things. You can use any sort of things. जो भी चीज़ें applicable है ना वहाँ पे यहाँ पे भी वो use कर सकते हो तुम. जो भी चीज़ वहाँ पे तुम करते हो. Because this is normal indexing. Okay, and I'm just following documentation. जो भी वहाँ पे है वो चीज़ हम लोग कर रहे हैं. But I think you can use any indexing that we have seen in normal indexing. इसीलिए ये multi indices बनाए इसीलिए गए. So multi index was for this purpose, so that you should be able to basically give this कि indexing हम लोग जो normally चीज़ों पे करते हैं तो we should be able to index in the same similar fashion. Okay, I hope you understood this thing. Okay, so जो भी चीज़ें वहाँ करें ना, but you should be doing it within the documentation. Maybe let's suppose LOC function is not defined, or something else is not defined. So you should check the documentation if it supports that way or not. but the feature, the thing that I wanted to get through is whatever indices जो भी हमने indexing पढ़ा वो इस पे भी applicable होगा, maybe with different syntax, doesn't matter to us. Yes, Muzaffar, yes.
Sir, can you explain again this generalized concept?
Okay. हाँ मैं explain करता हूँ, पर this won't be in the recording.
Okay.
Okay, so this was just my experience with debugging. जब हम debug करते हैं code, I said कि it is, जो क्या होता है, I should get into rather a different concept altogether, because I assumed the people might know it. So what I told you people is, let's say अगर तुम कोई चीज़ हार्ड कोड करते हो, कोई चीज़ हार्ड कोड करने से यू लिव विद इट, बेसिकली बाय दैट आई मीन अगर तो वो स्पेलिंग किसी ने चेंज कर दिया डेटा फ्रेम में, नेक्स्ट टाइम समबडी केम, लेट्स सपोज ये महमूद यहाँ पे था नहीं, कोई और स्टूडेंट था फिर 0th इंडेक्स पे, बट यू स्टिल वांटेड महमूद, बट महमूद वाज नॉट देयर. So it is better not to hard code things. By hard coding I mean कि exact value मत लो. So better is to read these values because they might change somewhere. कोई और change करके देगा या किसी ने कुछ किया database के साथ, and you will feel these errors. I showed you typical example of an error. अगर तो मैंने ये A जो है, this A is from some other font. Okay, and I copied it from internet right in front of you people. I copied it from internet. I just pasted this Mahmood over here. मैंने इसको इस font में बनाया.
Sir, VS Code is not visible. Sir.
Oops. Sorry. So I was showing you this. So I said ये जो महमूद मैंने लिखा यहाँ पे, this A you can never, I don't have a key on keyboard itself. अगर मैं ये A लिख रहा हूँ, this is how it's appearing. But this is a different font type. अब ये मैंने कैसे लिया? I just opened a random website of fonts online and I just copied this A over here. ये महमूद मैंने A. Now if I hard code it, as you see that this key is not on my keyboard. अब मेरे keyboard में ये key नहीं है. Let's suppose somebody was writing Urdu. अब उर्दू में उसका नाम है, तो अब मैं उर्दू में कहाँ से टाइप करूँ यहाँ पे? अदरवाइज आई हैव टू गेट कॉपी पेस्टेड. सो बेटर थिंग इज टू रीड इट ऑन द फ्लाई. इसको मैंने रीड किया एज आई रेड इट ओवर हेयर. सो मैं जब यहाँ पे गया, so I read this value. So if you see this NA now, this NA contains Mahmood because this is at 0th index, or 0, 1, because we have this index. If I just clean this, so if I print, let's say NA, you can see this. So NA has Mahmood over here. Or I can index, if I say NA of 0, because we have seen this in NumPy at length. NA of 0, you can see I got this Mahmood, and I don't need to type this A myself. That's the difference between hard coding and the difference between getting the values on the fly. So you should remember that do not hard code values in programming. It will create the errors which sometimes it is impossible to debug. बहुत मुश्किल, and you won't even find the errors. Let's suppose I'll take a similar A. यहाँ पे तो A तो different दिख रहा है. अगर मैं कुछ बहुत similar सा A ले लूँ, जो शायद दिखेगा भी नहीं कि इसमें problem है इस वाले A में. So I can take an A like this. I still have that thing on my screen. बहुत similar सा A में ले लेता हूँ. This is how even people, लोग ऐसे पासवर्ड्स बनाते हैं. People, you can write passwords like this, and which can't be recognized by normal keyboards. देखो यहाँ पे मैंने A महमूद लिखा. You see this? This A looks quite similar with this A if I type a normal A. Okay, यहाँ पे फिर फर्क दिख रहा है, but I can figure out these things. This is one way of writing your password. अगर तो तुम चाहते हो कि मेरा पासवर्ड ऐसा हो कि मैं किसी को दिखाऊं भी ये पासवर्ड, but still he won't figure out. So you can use different types of fonts, and which use entirely different ASCII code. Because these fonts, they internally get converted to what's called as ASCII or what's called as Unicode. And it depends on your layout कि कौन सा operating system use कर रहे हैं, और Unicode में बहुत types होते हैं. Okay, and usually if you write normal ABCD, it is written with, I think capital A starts with 65, small a starts with 97, something like this. But this, for these special, these are now treated as special symbols, so they'll add something to the 65 in order to make this font look different. Okay, so for hard code, I'm again telling you, do not hard code. It will throw a lot of errors, so it is better to get this generic value on the fly and then use it. Am I clear now?
Yes sir, clear. So वो for loop का
हाँ, for loop का. Now what I did is, I said देखो ऐसा कर सकते हैं. Now if I let's suppose want to print, so this NA, this is the index of all the indices. This is first level index, this is second level index, and this is the exam. ये मेरे columns जो exams. I want to print them, each of these in front of you. So this is NA. If I print this NA, and then if I print, let's say, this subject, and if I print this exam. Okay, now what you saw is, you are seeing this is my index, this is Mahmood, this is mathematics, and this is this. So what I wanted to tell you, I said कि चलो मुझे महमूद का है ये marks चाहिए mathematics के unit first में. Mahmood, mathematics unit first, and second time let's suppose I want again I want second thing, I want Mahmood, machine learning unit second. ऐसा मैं parallelly चलना चाह रहा हूँ. I say Mahmood, mathematics unit 1, Mahmood, machine learning unit second ऐसा कुछ. So what I said is, I said I'll zip all these things are iterables. Iterables basically where you can iterate through. So I said I can iterate through. I'll write exam में iterate करो, NA में iterate करो, subject में iterate करो. Now I'll use 3 iterators which will go inside, which will take the value I, J and K, because we have seen this at length in our tutorials जब हम लोग Python कर रहे थे. And now I said कि अब इसको इस data में जाओ और ith वाला लो, ith वाला will be index of 0, that's Mahmood. J will basically be the thing that is in this subject, that will probably be mathematics, and then we have the subject that will be unit 1. Okay, so that's what I took, I, J and K. Okay, and I zipped them together. It will take Mahmood, it will take mathematics, and it will take unit 1 and give me that. Second time it will go, it will take Mahmood, it will take machine learning, it will take unit second, and third time it will again take Mahmood, deep learning, and term first. Okay, and when I printed that thing even, so this is what it got printed. So इसने पहला Mahmood unit first, Mahmood and mathematics, unit second Mahmood and machine learning, term first Mahmood. You can directly navigate through this. देखो unit 1, okay, उसके बाद हमने Mahmood का नाम लिया और mathematics, and then we have unit 2, basically parallelly. Okay, if I wanted to print all the things, I could have written a for loop within the for loop within the for loop. So, but I just wanted to zip together. I just wanted to show you कि यहाँ से देखो generic जब मैं ये कर रहा हूँ तो how beneficial it would be. Okay, now you can do anything. You can write any generic code with it. And now I'm not hard coding. I'm getting the things on the fly. Okay, by indexing with this. So this is the index. और यहाँ पे ये चीजें change हो जाती है because this AI is taking the first element of exam first. Then in the second iteration, it will take the second element, third element, fourth element. It is iterating over that iterable. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Any other on this? Because this, if you don't understand these things, so probably this is because you haven't had a good experience with programming. Not good that you haven't coded much. But जितना जितना तुम आगे जाओगे, if you know the concept, you will get these things automatic after a while. Okay, and these are ये उतना खतरनाक चीज नहीं है. I'm just zipping the things together. Once you do these assignments and these things, and I hope you will find these things pretty trivial. And I hope there are people here who do code a lot, and they will find these things pretty trivial. Any other questions? Yes, Sajid. Yes, go ahead.
सर ये मेमोरी में डेटा फ्रेम स्टोर कैसे होता है?
You'll have to go through this documentation of pandas. तो वो क्या, because they write usually C code में उसको रखते हैं, and they use this vectorization pandas, and I even cannot give exact answer because I didn't look कि वो कैसे store करते हैं. So I just use that. But if let's suppose if there is a need, so I can go through the documentation and I can tell you how does it store, and it will have a particular way of storage there. But right now I don't know the answer to this because it's written in documentation. I didn't find a need to go there, and there is something which is way faster than pandas also. There are things faster than pandas. I think Polar is there. There is a Polar. If I'm correctly, can somebody search Polar data frame or something on Google? Polar data frame. It claims that it is way faster than pandas. Yeah, it is there. Yes, Polar is there. I was right that there is Polar. This is again a library. People created कि pandas थोड़ा और slow है और इसको fast बनाते हैं. And then people came up with Polar. And you might have not heard people using Polar, but there are things. And they use different things. So it becomes really impossible for me to keep track of these things कि इसको कैसे implement किया है, इसको कैसे implement किया है. So I don't bother myself going there. But if there is a need sometimes, and I can go there and I can read documentation. If I am, let's suppose, making a library like pandas, then I'll have to read inside out. तो फिर मुझे पता होना चाहिए कि how do they store it. But right now I can't answer this question. The better thing is I can tell you is go to the documentation, and then they have a contribution page. So if you go to the pandas documentation, there they have this pandas, and then there is development. Okay, so I can just paste the link over here. So then if you want to see it there, so this is the link, I'm pasting it over here. Okay, this is where you can read their documentation and go to their GitHub and see, and if you want to maybe extend some functionalities or maybe give some issues and see how they have implemented the things, and then you can easily, and there is again a thing called internals. They have written everything internally, and even if I can find that thing. Okay, I give you a generic answer, I suppose, but frankly speaking, I don't know how they implemented it because I have never seen their C code. Okay. as I was telling you people that the thing of this multi-level indexing, why do we define it this way? Because we wanted to use all the concepts that we discussed previously, as we had the concept of how to slice these things and how to get different things, and we want to use that. Let's suppose if we have this data, and now you want to get just first 5 rows. Oops. So we have this data, and you want to get, because you know slicing, I can just say, give me the first, let's suppose, 5 rows. So I can do it like this also. So this should give me first 5 rows. This is again that type of slicing. So and you have seen that if you just with the 5 rows, now you can put comma, and you want to give, let's suppose, some other thing. Oops. So I have this none over none. So and you can see there will be a lot of errors where you do this, but that's all right. But now the thing that I wanted to convey is, so you can slice it in the way that you have sliced for the single level indexing. But I'll just remove this again, not to debug, that it'll take a lot of time. So what I'm saying is, so whatever slicing concept we have used, so we use negative index slicing. So I just will try it'll work. So I just want to the last previous 2 rows, let's suppose. So I'll do it like this, so you can see, and with the step size also. If I want step size, so I want everything, and then I want it through the step size of let's suppose 1, and then oops, and I'll put Mahmood, and then we have 5 subjects. I'll jump 5 things. Okay, you can see this. So I got only for the mathematics, and then we jumped the 5 things. Then for Tasmin we got machine learning, for Fahad we got deep learning. So if I just jump for 4, I just wanted to get all the marks for mathematics. So I said for Mahmood we have mathematics marks, for Tasmin mathematics, Fahad, this is how I sliced it. I said data, give me all the rows, but jump 4 rows and skip the other rows. If you see, I'm skipping these rows. I'm just starting with mathematics and jumping these 1, 2, 3, and 4 again on the 4th row, jumping basically 3 things and coming on mathematics. If I want deep learning marks now, if I let's suppose want deep learning, so deep learning is I'll start from 2nd, and I'll see I'll get deep learning marks only. Okay, this is again how I'll slice. Is it clear? And then you can again see the same thing. If I just want to get the column, maybe U1. And if it's not a thing, you can just take the documentation. I suppose this should work. So it gave me the U1. For all these, it gave me the marks for U1. And the best part is now, let's suppose if I want to get everything. So I got everything. But what I'll do is, I want to sum these things. I want to sum these marks. So I can say dot sum, if that is a function in here. I suppose this is there. Yes, this is there. So you saw for U1, this sum. For U2, these were the sum. And for U3, this is the sum of the marks. Okay, the sum is basically an aggregate function. We'll see all of these, but I'm just showing you the functionality that you can do on top of this now. So once you got deep learning marks this, you can even write a program to sum all of these things together, and then sum this 11, 10, and then add one more column over here. Okay, so now let's see, we'll go back to slicing. So we'll slice, let's say, last 2 rows. So these are my last 2 rows. So is it the way? So data. So I should rerun the data, because this thing takes care of this. So these are making copies. So if I just say data of -2, this should basically give me the last rows, but it's giving me everything. So let's take data of let's say first 2. Yes, I'm getting this. So now if I want to add something, I can add, subtract, I can do anything. So what I can do is, so I can maybe, let's suppose, say data, I can store it somewhere else, data of some tr or something like the data tr. So I'll just add this data to the previous data we had. So I'll say data. Okay, let's copy the whole thing. Let's not just copy this, copy the data whole part. I had, now you know that this data, that data is pretty much similar. So data tr plus, what I'll do is I'll add last maybe 2 data, tr of let's suppose 2. I'll see if this works. Okay, I'm just adding these two things. That's why you are seeing not a number of values everywhere, but you are seeing some values over here. Okay, and this is basically giving the addition operation. Okay, so you are giving this. So if you want to print this, so you can just say print this. So this will give me for Mahmood 10, 14, 16, 15, and 12. So you know the whole data of folder basically is. So what it does is, so you want to add. So if you see in Mahmood in mathematics, you will get this addition. So coming to Mahmood over here, so you see this. So in machine learning mathematics, we added these things together. Okay, so this is what we did. So if you see this 10, this is a quite long frame. So you saw 34 and then 20, then 28. So if you see these things together and then we just added something. So you can add, you can perform operations on this. So not a number basically is, for others we don't have anything. So but it's somehow matched this key Mahmoud and went into the mathematics and this mathematics and machine learning, and it added these things over here because we had this mathematics machine learning and we had values for these, and it added them in the original frame, and that's why we got the values. And for the rest it had no values, so it added not a number because we didn't have a number. So I just created one data initially. This is the data, and then I added these. You can also do these sort of things. Okay. Then you can also reindex the data. By reindexing, I mean that you can let's suppose have initial 8 things and reindex them together howsoever you want. Okay, and there are these functions reindexing. Okay, so and there are a lot of functionalities which I can talk about, and we can go on and go on. Let's suppose if you just want to add a status, I'll maybe create this frame like this now because I have written something. So I'm creating the same frame. Give me some seconds. This notebook is becoming quite long. I don't want to go. So I have this. These names are with me. I just wrote them. So we have Mahmood, Asar, Abid, some Rajesh, mathematics, physics, chemistry, and I have 2 semesters. So I just created a data frame like this. Okay, we have this unit 1, unit 2, term 1, term 2, and final grade, and then I have these things, and we have semesters. Now we have 3 levels of indexing: level 0, level 1, and level 2. Okay, we have semesters also now. If I just want to remove semester, it doesn't make sense, so okay, semesters will keep it. And after that, now if I want to do something, if I want to add one column, if I want to see pass fail, if I want to see if somebody has passed or somebody has failed, so what I can do is I'll see on the basis of final grade. So I'll tell them if you have failed or passed. So we want to add one more column. So I'll say df.status. So this is my data frame. So I'll say df, and then add one more thing. How to add? Status. Status is basically if the people have passed or not. So now you know how to do that. You can use np.wire function. So that will create a mask. So I will first do this df of. So we'll say final grade. Give me the final grade. Df of final grade. If that grade is greater or equal to 70. Okay, this value will give me true or false. So this thing will give me true or false thing. Okay. So what I will not do is I'll say np.where. np.where. Everybody knows what's the function. It will create a mask. So mask basically will be true or false. So if this thing is true, so if this mask is true, what you should do is you should write pass, otherwise fail. See how I wrote the code and how I read it. Again, code, mathematics, everything, this should be treated as a poetry. Okay, and if you can't read it, then there's a problem with your vocabulary. Okay, so now I said df.status. This basically means I'm adding one more column into my data frame. I said, okay, df final semester of this. This will give me a boolean mask. This will give me true and false. So if I just print this, so initially I'll just show you it separately. So if I just print this df final grade, you can see. And I also had to put df of df. If that is the thing. Is it not supported? Oops. Yes, there is a problem with this. So the syntax is like this. df of this. Because it showed me str. So I said it should not be str. So if I now print it, it gave me a boolean mask. You can see true, false, something like this. True, false, false, false. So it gave me this. This is a boolean mask. Okay. And now I am applying this boolean mask onto what? Oops. I'm applying this boolean mask, and we have seen this np-where in the previous session. I'm applying it onto this data frame itself. Okay. So I'm saying np.df of this, where this is. So if there is this value true, so give it pass, otherwise give it fail value. So that's what this np-where does. Np-where does basically tells, okay, wherever this is true, give the pass value, and where it's false, give the fail value. Okay. So now if I print this df, and I am adding this status. So just don't do it only this. So just add one more column into this. If I now print df, so I should run this first. Hopefully it is not giving any errors. Good sign. Now you can see we added pass fail column. We said, okay, if you can clearly see final grade 98, it passed. 95 pass. Why is the fail 61? Basically we said below 70 is fail. So that's why it is giving pass fail. So that's why you added this. You should know what np-where is, what is this indexing, and what is this conditioning, and then you pass and fail. You just get the values. Is it clear? Now you can print, let's suppose df.head if you want to see it. I should not print everything. I should just print df.head so that it fits on my screen. And then what I can see is I can again, there are different ways. I can just print mathematics score and different level of subjects, but I don't want to show you that. And I can print the subjects. There's a group by function. A lot of functionalities are there. Okay, maybe we'll give that as a part of assignment. and then you can do a lot of these things on this. Okay, but I'll close this thing over here. I'll close this multi-indexing here because there is a lot of things that are written in the documentation, and it is, I won't say impossible, but it is very difficult to go over all the details. But I hope that once you feel a need of doing something else, you will be easily able to navigate through documentation, and you should be able to get it. But I told you the generic concept of what these multi-level indexing are and how to create this and what other functionalities it does give. Okay, can I maybe stop this multi-level indexing and move to other topic if you are convinced that you people can navigate the documentation?